The five pillars of Islam are the five fundamental tenets of the Islam. It teaches the believers to follow Allah's commands, and these five pillars of Islam were to ensure that its believers to achieve the goal and the purpose of a stable and peaceful life.
I don't quite get it. Do you mind telling me more?
Of course, don't worry. I will explain it to you using a parable as an example. So, Islam was built based on five pillars, right? And these pillars can be compared to as a structure of a building supported by five pillars. A Muslim is required to respect and uphold the five pillars in order to build a strong and a solid building. A solid and a strong building is a parable for a Muslim belief who strongly believe in God's law and sincerely uphold them.
Oh, now I understand. So the five pillars of Islam is the five obligatory acts that must be followed by each Muslim in order to build a great faith towards Allah SWT, right? So the five pillars is Allah, Shahada, prayer 5 times per day, zakat, then fasting, and the last one is haji for who can afford it, right?
Yes, correct. You get it right. These five pillars of Islam serve as an evidence of a Muslim devotion and faith in obeying God's law and orders.
Oh, I see. But what are the fundamentals of these five pillars of Islam?
Well, the fundamental is to distinguish between a Muslim and a non-Muslim, and also between a Muslim who sincerely upholds God's law and one who merely lives in defiance of them.
So, for example, a Muslim who did not admit by his heart that there is no God except Allah, then all his kindness will be put aside by God, and he may not enter heaven, right? Right?
Yes, you got it right. I see you have understood it. Congrats. By the way, you can ask Stella so that she can tell us more about the function of the five pillars of Islam.
Oh, sure. Peekaboo!
Oh my god. Sorry for disturbing you, Suhaida. It's okay, Linda.
I have one question for you. May I know what is the function of five pillars of Islam?
That was a good question, Linda. The function of pillar of Islam. The first thing is that mankind know who created this world and who is Almighty God. When a person understands and follows the established pillar of Islam, he will easily know who the God is to be worshipped. Then, the function is to make people strive to become true believers who hold on trust and keep their promise to Allah, because the pillar of Islam require a Muslim to be more disciplined. Third, prevent Muslims from committing heinous and evil acts that are direct conflict with the teaching of Islam. It is because when a Muslim follows the pillar of Islam unintentionally, he will also distance himself from forbidden things and get closer to things that commanded by Allah. Fourth, train Muslims to be patient in face of trial and anger. When someone always do things that are commanded by Allah, they will always remember Allah at any time, place or situation. Fifth, create gratitude for the favor bestowed by Allah. Muslims who fulfill Allah's command will always be grateful for the blessing Allah gives in their life.
Thank you for the information.
Hi Anas, I still don't understand about the pillar of Islam.
Oh, if you don't understand, how about we watch our friend video?
Oh hey, it's already time to pray. Do you want to go to the mosque with me?
Oh yeah, sure. Thank you for reminding me.
One of the examples on how we should keep the five pillars to continue to be practiced even in the future. As a Muslim, we need to constantly remind each other in doing good deeds and doing the obligations, because we as a normal human being tend to forget the real purpose of our lives. The importance to keep reminding each other is also stated in Surah Al-Balad verse 17, where it said, and then being among those who believe and those who advise one another to be patient and advise one another to compassion. The next point is early education. Early education can be classified and explained in two ways. The first one is home and the second one is from school. Parents played a big role in teaching the children since home is the first school for everyone. Parents need to teach and expose the children with basic knowledge of Islam and the 5 pillars so that the children will grow up in a modest and Islamic lifestyle. Next, school. Subjects like Pendidikan Agama Islam and Fardu Ain classes teach children a lot of things about Islam, mainly what and why we as Muslims need to follow and oblige these 5 pillars to become a good Muslim. After all the educations, all is left to do is to practice and to include all the 5 pillars that we have learned in our daily lives. For example, pray 5 times together with your family or friends. Teach ourselves to habitually say Shahadah, fasting in Ramadan and do Sunnah fasting as practices, pay Zakah on time, and have the ambition to do Hajj one day. Last but not least, we can learn, read, and appreciate the Prophet and companion stories to take and absorb their determination in completing and doing the obligations even in hard situations. For example, when the Prophet and companions still joined wars even when they were fasting in Ramadan. This type of stories can be a good inspiration for all of us to keep doing the obligation. Now, I will pass the floor to the next presenter.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. So for my part, I will explain to you about differences about Muslim in today's era. There are something that can be differences about Muslims in today's era in Ulama Khalaf era and Muslims in the era of Ulama Salaf. People nowadays are disobedient with pillars of Islam. For example, in the first position, the pillars of Islam is 2 sentences of Shahadah. In this context, in the movie Hantu Bonceng, they have made fun of the word Shahadah and insulted Islam. In one scene of the film, Zizan, who playing the role of Amran, who fainted in the hospital due to an accident, was suddenly surprised after imagining the face of a ghost and said, Ashhadu anna Muhammadar Shaitan. The parties who dispute this dialogue mean something like, I bear witness that Muhammad is Satan. Second, related to the obligation to pray 5 times a day, there are still many who take this matter for granted regardless of age. This can be seen in the reality of our lives now, when there are still many older men, especially hanging out in restaurants. Nor less to the younger age group who like to delay prayer. Third is about zakat. Most people do not know about the payment of zakat that must be done if saving gold and also zakat income. There are still many who do not have knowledge related to this, thinking that zakat fitrah is the only thing that needs to be paid, while there is still a lot of zakat that needs to be emphasized. The fourth is fasting in the month of Ramadan. Today's Muslims are really challenging Islam itself, like the recent viral story of an influencer, Faiz Roslan. I'm pretty sure that all of you know about him, who openly admitted through his Instagram live video that he does not fasting because he also does not pray. His actions have been reprimanded by the Mufti of the Federal Territory, Datuk Dr. Zulkifli Muhammad Al-Bakri, for seemingly disrespecting the month of Ramadan. And the last one, the fifth, is performing the Haji in Mecca. This story used to be a hot conversation among Muslims. The first one is related to Ayah Pin's heretical teaching, which says that everyone can perform Haji and Umrah in his place of worship in the state of Terengganu using the Kaabah replica. And the second one is related to the transgender influencer, which is Muhammad Sajjad, who performed Umrah by wearing a telekong and was in the Muslimah prayer area. This shows that toward the end of this era, the respect of Muslims themselves towards the Islamic religion, especially those related to the pillars of Islam, is becoming more and more common.
Consequences for ignoring the 5 pillars of Islam. If the person is a mu'min but not doing prayers, fasting, zakat or Hajj only if he can, he will be rolled in the hell until he gets the punishment for all his sin and enters into paradise. That person also will not be considered as a Muslim if he abandoned one of the pillars of Islam. For example, he abandoned prayer, one of the pillars, and whoever deliberately abandons prayer is a disbeliever. Depending upon which of the pillars, it may nullify their Islam or simply mean that they are highly flawed in their religion and will be judged accordingly by Allah. Between a man, shirk and kufur is abandoning prayer. These were the words of the Messenger of Allah in an authentic hadith. So, the one who abandons prayer is not a Muslim even if he admits it's obligatory and he's too lazy to do that. The one who doesn't pray has not even an atom weight of faith. We believe that the act of worship should be done for the sake of Allah, and Allah will judge a person accordingly to his or her intention and action. Hence, we as a Muslim must not ignore the 5 pillars of Islam, because a Muslim could not depend his or her life without the pillars of Islam, where it requires a deep commitment and responsibility. Thus, it will foster a fulfilling life and a close relationship between a Muslim and Allah.
Authorities from Al-Quran and Hadith. This pillar is important and forms the basis of the principle of knowing Islam. It is below the Islamic level of the 3 levels that every Muslim must understand when it comes to the principles of knowing Islam, namely Islam, Iman and Ihsan. Indeed, the true and accepted religion in the sight of Allah is Islam. Imam Ibn Kathir radhiyallahu anhu, when interpreting this verse, he explained that this verse is a message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which says that there is no religion accepted from a person in his presence except Islam. That is, by following the messenger sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times until the end by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who brought the religion that covers all other paths except the path he has taken. Whoever seeks a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from him. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala affirms that the religion accepted by him is only limited to religion of Islam and not to other religion, as stated in verse 19 Surah Ali Imran. From Ibn Umar radhiyallahu anhu, he said, the Messenger of God sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Islam is built on 5 things: Shahadah, La ilaha illallah and Muhammad Rasulullah, establishing prayer, giving zakat, Hajj and fasting Ramadan. As a Muslim, simply knowing the pillars of Islam and the things written in them alone is not enough. On the other hand, every Muslim must understand and appreciate all the wishes of rukun so that the principles and rules of Islam that have been established can be fully obeyed.
So, the conclusion for this topic is, the Muslim must uphold the 5 pillars of Islam in order to build a great faith and belief towards God's law and in getting a heavenly reward. Secondly, a Muslim adapting the 5 pillars of Islam is a must, as it protects the Muslim from doing the forbidden thing said by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And finally, the 5 pillars of Islam is the crucial part of the Islamic teaching. Therefore, a Muslim must respect them and don't put them lightly even in the modern era. That's all from us. Thank you.